That boot camp working wonders, and I think G2, after a bit of a tough game against Knights, are going to have a struggle here today. They're going to have to play at their very best if they want to compete with Vitality on Chalet.
Indeed, let's get through these bans nice and quick then. Iana going to be the first one taken away. The go-to Ashe replacement for many a player around the world. Removed from the board, of course, wielding the Gon 6, 2 frag grenades, a pretty decent gun, and that gadget that can be so irritating when you're pushing off by yourself somewhere off to the side of the map. She will not be present here on Chalet. Thatcher, the next one to follow, seems to be the go-to on every single map these days for every single team. Next one to follow up is going to be the Mirror, a go-to staple ban, it feels like, sometimes seen on the bar and gaming site, used to pretty great effect. Able to hold yourself down inside of utility or wine or stock or whatever the hell you want to call it. And Valkyrie, ye old faithful ban ace, going to be the final one that flies through. So really the only one that comes as a surprise, and even then it's understandable, is going to be the Iana.
Yeah, I think the Iana is maybe G2's attempt to just disrupt a little bit of, you know, maybe Vitality's just standard baseline players. They don't have that Iana available now, so they're going to have to just switch up the attacking lineup slightly. But we've got, as an option coming in, Lion.
Okay. A few teams have been rolling around on something like that. Quick pause coming in from G2 just for a brief second. Imagine they'll sort that out in just a moment. May even be a bit of a rehost, I think, as John Cat has unfortunately crashed out. But you can see the lineup there that they're looking at bringing along here. It's going to be Flora. Press the button. Oh, there you go. I pressed the cast to start game button, so we are back in now, as you can see. But again, for Vitality, I think they are a team maybe not so much stable in performance levels, but in terms of predictability of play style, outside of P4, I think G2 will feel like they've got a pretty good handle on this team.
I'd agree with you. I think, as you say, P4, you've mentioned him a couple of times there, he's certainly going to be something that G2 need to focus on. They need to think about, because he's one of those players that certainly can get out of hand. I mean, we've seen big performances out of Rise as well over the last, the last few play days, and G2 need to very carefully manage those big names on the side of Vitality and be careful not to let them get running now. Site 1 for us is going to be kitchen and dining. So as we can see, utility just being expended up on that top floor. We've got reinforcements going in. We've got rotations being opened up. And as I said, there's going to be a battle to try and get in to Master and Office to get some sort of vertical superiority over the site. We've got the laser gates being deployed. We've got all this utility going in there. Barbed wire. Flores, he's going to have a bit of a job to do to get rid of some of that. He can't deal with the laser gates. That's going to have to be utility that gets thrown through them, or normal Joan. I mean, I suppose you could jump a Rotero through there, but it'd be a little bit of a waste.
You could. The big focus going to be inside of Office, I think, for the most part. I was kind of concerned for a second when I just saw Citizen.
Hang on a minute.
Playing on the smoke, being the man holding up top. They're just going straight to site, though. Forget about trying to clear that top floor. The drones are in. Bibba's in right behind, looking to be the entry for them here. They're pushed in one towards West Main. He's not looking the right way. Look to your left, buddy. They're up that way. There are 2 there, but he's managed to get himself inside. And he's like, guys, we can plant. I'm inside a site, but not quite with the full control that they need. They need a kill or 2 to come their way. Bibbu, he's on the prowl. He's turned into a bit of a demon here. Sees one man, but can't quite get the finish off into a shot that connects. Does take a shot back, and now as a ping comes through onto the man sat inside a trophy, he knows that there are 2 to deal with. It's a wonder yet, Ace, that inside 45 seconds he hasn't found a single body.
Nor been desperately challenged. There's been a couple of bullets in towards him, but otherwise Bibu's being left to sort of largely keep himself to himself, but he's now taken quite a lot of damage. He's going to have to dip away. He uses the rotation that's been opened up by the defenders, I believe there. The hatch was already open. He's going to drop down. It's actually going to be Rise who comes in at a much more sedate pace to find the opener, and Des, it's Kayak on the Echo.
Of course it is. Just the man that you want to kill. We spoke earlier on today about his incredible clutch against Virtus Pro that won G2 the map on console at 7-4. For those who don't recall that one, definitely one that I'd recommend going back to watch. But it's been it's almost like a weird back to front round where it's like we've arrived on site, then we've got off site, and now we're going back to playing the game more air quotes normally, where it's going to be the vertical clear, for example. Gadgetry clear, as you're now seeing coming out of P4. Strange, because you thought for a second they might get away with the plant on site that early, given there was no one looking to contest the Zofia.
I mean, the other question you've got to ask there is, Bibu's been through that room. All the utility is still in place that's now jamming out the Selma. Could have been cleared. You know, you've got to have a think about that. It's not always just about getting inside and getting kills. There was an opportunity potentially. He was in behind the deployable shield. He had a little bit of cover. You know, there's the opportunity potentially to have cleared that out.
I agree, but also you're in a spot where you're in sight in 30 seconds, 5 is still alive, and you could be contested for an angle at any time. Your likelihood is you're not wanting to look at a mute jammer or a drone or an ADS. You're far more worried about the two playing inside a trophy that could bring you down. So decision making there, going for the more kind of reward versus risk. Didn't want to put it too riskily. Cactus finding the second, and it's on to Citizen. The smoke going out here. The two operators you sorely need alive in the dying seconds. The ones that have started out. The dying on the side of G2. P4 finding the third in the round, and so far G2 unable to find a response.
I love that from P4. Just knew exactly where that man was. Just waited for him to peek up, and that was it. Down he went. Virtue manages to find the kill onto Bibu, who's been low health since the beginning of the round. Finally finished off, but Rise, he gets in there, one for himself. Shinka with the trade onto Virtue to close out the round, and that's going to be Vitality 1-0. And I tell you what, Des, they looked, for my money, like they had the absolute run of G2 in that round.
They didn't look pressured for the longest time. Like,
they literally walked into sight for 30 seconds and then said, nah, there's nothing going on, I'm out of here.
Where's the party guys have turned up and no one's around? Yeah, I agree. It was, I think, really good of them to have the live drone at the feet to go pushing him with that one as well. I kind of wish they'd really big balls it and gone all the way for a plant behind him as well. Once he's in there holding the angles, you got smokes you can play behind. Just try and stick a plant and try something a little bit chaotic. Works out for them totally fine in the end. A 5 versus 2. G2's only response coming when there was 15 seconds left on the clock, just showing what that kind of passive play style for them has done in that round. Maybe it's the site, maybe it's the start for G2. We'll give them a couple more to see how they warm up. Let's see how they fare up in the most common site it feels like on this map at the moment. It's going to be Master and Office.
Mute jammers getting deployed. That will try to keep that wall up, closed for the time being at least. There's likely to be a little bit of a focus on Vitality getting that one open. As I say, they'll want to get control over Mezzanine and push in and try to get hold of that area and then look to open that balcony wall. But, I mean, you've also got the Solarium-sided push as well. There is the option there, maybe push in through Trophy, get a man on Repel on Solarium windows and just apply some pressure from that north side as well.
Time will tell me with the drones already setting up towards the top side here. One watching Trophy, it looks like from West Main, or towards Trophy. One watching Solarium itself. Vitality know what the game plan is here, and something suggests to me it's going to be a start inside of Solarium to then look to push their way down. 3 spawning on that side at least confirms that idea. Shinka, the one spawning on the other side of the map on the Flores, likelihood is you're going to find him sitting in a corner somewhere, chucking out those Retiro drones for a minute and a half at one point, trying to remove the utility that is impeding the rest of his team from being able to look at the site.
Cactus with a few stray bullets in through the barricade. You never know what you're going to catch on the other side of there. Sometimes it is worth just chucking a few bullets in and seeing where you go. Now Hungry just shooting himself out a little peephole in the wall there to try and keep himself in check with that trophy window, so there's no free entries. Of course, the single bullet holes don't work anymore. That's worth reminding for everybody. You might think, why has he not just put one in there and keep it small? They don't work. You can't see through them anymore. You have to get to the point of it being similar to a punch hole.
Look when you get to that kind of point where you get about 2:10 on the clock and everyone kind of freezes and goes, right, drone time. Back on the drones, information collection, get yourself into key positions where you're not going to find yourself getting into an early gunfight, but enough that you can start collecting information. Shinka is again the man that I'm watching in this round, is to see where it is that he gets to. You're all right, 2 or 3 of them playing around on drones right now, just to make sure this mid-round, or at least the setup now they're inside the building safely, is not going to find them getting caught on the flank by anyone. You can see all the G2 outlines on your screen as well. All the orange as it floods in front of Bibu's line of view lets him know that pretty much everyone is playing on site here, and it's very much a turtle setup coming out of the side of G2, giving some lean, of course, to Hungry on the pulse.
You could hear the point there where Bibu managed to find that mute jammer up above him. The Selma device automatically activating once it was cleared out. Cactus just going to hold an angle on towards the office door there. There is a couple of players for G2 still downstairs that Vitality have to be aware of, one of which is Hungry on the pulse. He's got the heartbeat scanner in hand and could be pivotal in trying to deny a plant going down here if he is allowed to remain underneath, which for the time being at least he is, although it looks like a challenge is possibly going to come in from Bibu. P4 meanwhile finds a kill onto Kayak, first death again. Jonker, he manages to get the trade, and that is a great move for G2 there to level things up at 4 versus 4. The plant spot is open to the attackers now, but there is more work that they need to do before they can contemplate going in and putting that diffuser down.
I'm nervous that they're still not dealing with Hungry yet. I know that we had Bibu looking to challenge him earlier on, but no one actually pushing onto him to try and kill him. Just a couple of warning shots almost coming out as Rise gets a couple coming back out of office window at exactly the same time. Keep a very close eye on Hungry with that C4 in back pocket, because once the push comes through, he could be pivotal. A 1-for-1 in the mid-round. Citizen finding a kill here rather than losing the smoke early on. Has one in back pocket here. That comes out at the right time. That could be lights out. Virtue finds one, turning it into a double in the round. 3 versus 1. Shinka all alone. I'm pretty sure his round is done and dusted. Citizen closing things out.
So many times I've said in the last couple of play days, an important couple of kills for Virtue. It's something that just seems to be getting repeated time and time again, that at a pivotal point of the round, that man steps up and gets 1, gets 2 that are absolutely pivotal to the round. And that was just perfectly timed from Virtue there. Coming in towards that potential final execution, you've got a 3 versus 3 that all of a sudden is a 1 versus 3 because Virtue picks up a double. Right place, right time. I said at the beginning of the stage we needed to see more out of Virtue. I think he said in his interview a couple of play days ago, actually, we had Virtue on and spoken to us, and he said that he'd been a little bit out of sorts within the game and he'd just sort of straightened himself out, got his confidence back, and you really are starting to see it now.
For round number 3 then, let's see how we fare downstairs in bar and gaming. Kaid was hovered for a couple of seconds and, well, the bait and switch seems to have worked because on Vitality's side, that Lion changed away, put in place instead for an IQ. Putting the fear of God, it feels, into Vitality that Kai could be quite a headache. On the side of G2, I'm looking towards the Jaeger and the Wamai here and just thinking that just screams all day long anti-projectile. They know that the grenades coming through from the sledge, for example. They don't want to deal with the Zophier's concussions and impacts flying everywhere. Anything they can do to restrict that utility coming in from their side, the better. Although I always look towards the Flores, and we spoke about this on the pre-show. Can you really afford to bring along Mute and Mozzie and Jaeger and Wamai? Yeah, sure, they're all 4 decent operators, but very rarely do you see all 4 together in the same round.
We'll certainly see how it plays out in this one. As you say, bar and gaming is the site of choice, but top floor, once again, will be very important, particularly library this time around, as that is the area that is directly above that bar and gaming. But to be fair, so far on the whole, Vitality have played a pretty horizontal game, getting themselves directly sort of route 1 in towards site rather than necessarily going for that vertical superiority. Now, Cactus takes a lot of early damage there, and on the ace, need to be careful. There's not too many essential hard breach locations for bar and gaming. You can win it without, but they still don't want to be throwing that man away too early.
I thought they might have seen the man for a second. They didn't realise he was actually playing inside of Wine. So Yonkers hanging off on the downstairs could be the big headache maker here if he gets a crouch walk up to West Main. Virtue elsewhere has started the shooting and started the killing there. One coming back on their side onto Cactus. The hard breacher removed, quite critical in that regard. And now he goes back to his hidey hole inside a library, the spot you were talking about early on. Teams often have to force the player out of playing in the corner of the library by burning a bit of utility, sending drones in, for example. Such a strong power position unless you've got the numbers to deal with it.
Bibu finds himself coming up against the laser gate there, so for the time being we'll shoot out that office door. Give himself an opportunity to potentially move out onto balcony, see if he can get an angle down along library stairs or pick up an easy kill just to try and level things out at 4-4 before he continues that push across the top floor. Now, Rise, he's just moved in through kitchen dining, so that's a lot of mid-floor control now secured for Vitality. He's got P4 backing him up from the main door as well. But for the time being, Vitality just feel a little bit unsettled inside of this round. They're sort of prodding, poking, just trying to find their way. Where is the push going to come? Right now, they're being rebuffed from all directions.
It's very weird not seeing Citizen being the one charging off around the map, causing chaos, to be honest with you, and seeing on something more passive like the smoke, whereas Virtue and Yonk are the ones being given that privilege, with Hungary also given a bit of time to go for a run around, and I'm wondering if that's a conscious decision of theirs, given we know how much work Citizen can do. It's a chance for the newer faces on the team to build up a bit of confidence, go out there and do what they do best, run and gun, have a bit of fun, and see what you can convert off the back of it. The peak coming out from Yonka there and Shinka, well, gives us something else to think about. Good flash coming in, baited at the peak. Simple as 1, 2, 3.
Beautiful kill from Shinka there. 4 versus 4 then. Bibu still pressuring that balcony window. Not able to find Citizen yet. He's keeping himself locked in. He's certainly not going to expose himself. A battle on the stairs goes Rise's way as he finds Hungry lacking. And this is where the pressure will start to mount on Citizen. P4 finds Kayak, and Citizen's going to find himself pinched very, very soon. Virtue from a nice pro drone position underneath the pool table. Citizen manages to defend himself for the time being with a kill onto Rise. Shinka shuts down Virtue, and that gives access to site. Citizen has found his way back now. Out goes the Toxic Babe canister. He knows the man's going to drop. It was all down to the prox alarm, but Shinka, he finds the kill onto Citizen, and in a round that just rubber banded backwards and forwards between the two teams, it is Vitality that come away with the win.
So close as well. Citizen almost pulling off one of those clutches. Maybe that's it. He wants to try and build up his 1vx stat. God knows, but won the 1v1 in the 1 versus 2. But the final one, wasn't quite sure where the man was swinging from in that instance and wasn't quite quick enough on the react, where a Shinka, he was. Another round the way of Vitality. That's 2 for them. A 2 that you look at on this map and knowing that it's generally quite attacker leaning at the moment. You don't want to get too excited about yet, but we spoke about the challenge they'd bring to G2, and so far, that challenge is there.
I'd be interested to see where the proximity alarm was on that one. We heard it go off, and I'm interested to know, I'll have a look back on the VOD at a later point, as to whether it was on the hatch drop, because Citizen seemed to be prepared for that, but he just put a Toxic Babe canister up there. So suggested he maybe already knew somebody was coming that way. I don't know if the prox alarm was on there or whether it was in the connector and it was as the last man was moving through that Citizen picked up the noise of him moving or not. I don't know, but I'll be interested to find out. Either way, Citizen, a good effort, but was unable to take both down. We get a look at that nice early Shinka kill as Bibu. It's just off in the distance there. You can see pressure from both sides from Vitality, which I like. Jonker was the man caught out on the window and shut down on the Aruna. It was just... there wasn't many safe places for G2 in that round.
There weren't a ton, no. I mean, you saw that kind of opening kill coming out of Shinka that then transpired into him winning that 1v1 in the late round. I always speak about it, but it's those small things in the early round, a 1v1 that felt meaningless at the time, that snowballs into a 2 versus 1 in the dying moments that ultimately secures them the round. Let's see how round number 4 plays out, though, whether or not G2 can bring it back up to 2 apiece, or if Vitality can pull way ahead and get themselves up to 3-1 in the first 4 rounds. Will be an excellent start for them. I'm always quite keen as well to see, I know I keep on touching on it as well, but Citizen on this smoke, where his impact comes in the later round, because he normally is the player that's out in the map roaming, making things happen. Here he's playing that much more passive defensive role.
Jonker's going to head down. Is he going to go all the way to the basement? Not quite just yet. He's just going to perch himself on the library stairs for now. He's got a little bit of company with him in the shape of Virtue and Vitality, as they have done previously, really. This is the role that we saw Cactus playing out last time, was just keeping those external angles for the time being, just trying to catch out those defenders as they move around. Now, the yellow ping there that just suggests that they're aware of Virtue's location. He does spot the drone and move himself away. He's going to change things up and get himself back up the stairs. So I think that's a good move from Virtue there. He's not throwing his life away, challenging this too heavy, just putting a few shots out, letting them know that he's there, but certainly not over-committing to it. He knows that they've spotted him. He knows they know where he is and needs to be careful as he picks up that drone. Bibu picks up Jonker. Virtue's going to take a lot of damage, and that's beautiful play from Vitality. Des just flushing Virtue up the stairs, and Shinka was just sat waiting.
Citizen drops down for the support as well, but little too late. The only way I can describe that one. 2 men down early on. Yes, it's not your supportive players. Don't forget earlier on that it was Citizen and Kayak who died as the first 2 in the round, whereas here at least it is those out on the roam. It's still not ideal, but it's better than what we had before. Let's see how things shape up, though, with the 60 seconds to play in a 5 versus 3 for Vitality. You've got to be feeling confident about a round win, Ace.
Certainly do at this point. They are looking good for it. Not just a round win, Des, but they're looking very confident on Chalet. G2 really backs to the wall already inside the first 4 rounds. They're having themselves picked apart, particularly out on the roam. Vitality surrounding them very well. There always seems that was a perfect example. Shinka inside dining, waiting for Virtue to be flushed out of basement. They always have the angles covered. They're always waiting, but talking of waiting, Citizen, he's waiting on this balcony window here. He knows that he's being pushed by a Zafir as the stun canister goes off. He's going to get the kill all day long, nice and easy. Citizen, he gets himself a second. Shinka finds one onto Hungry, and still Vitality at a net advantage. But it is certainly game on for G2 in round 4.
Yeah, there's 15 seconds to go as well. Citizen's got to go massive here alongside Kayak, who's holding himself in a key spot. Triple kill for Citizen as he picks up P4. There's Kayak. The boys are stepping in with the SAS operators. Only one stands. It's Shinka. Can they pull off a miraculous turnaround in the round? Absolutely they can. A 3K for Citizen, 2 for Kayak. And they keep Vitality at bay.
How did G2 win that round? That has to be the question on the lips of Vitality fans right now. And all this does for me, Des, is just drill more more excitement into me. 4 rounds, 2-all. We are no closer to knowing who is likely to win this one than we were at the beginning, and this is exactly the sort of battle that we wanted between these two behemoths in the EUL. It is all to play for yet. Vitality are on the verge of making a last-ditch gasping effort for that major spot. They need to keep winning playday after playday. And right now, G2 are standing stalwart in their way. And I love to see it.
We always love a good, not so much underdog run, but we love the unexpected, and someone pulling off a miraculous sprint from lower down the table to snatch away a top 4 spot is one of those storylines that we live for. Really keen to see what happens as we start rolling into play days 8 and 9. One of those coming on Monday, the other the Monday after. So still 2 more to go after today to determine who those 4 teams are that will be going through to the Mexico Major. Let's see how round number 5 plays out, though. That Kaid stepping in for Hungary here. I spoke about it quite a bit last week. He is the man that flexes between every operator going. I guarantee you, he's playing at least 5 different operators in a game. It's crazy how much he kind of flexibility he brings onto the team and what it is that he's offering to them. You think it's good on defense? Wait till you see him on attack.
That flick from Citizen was absolutely beautiful that we've just seen. Let's not forget, that was on the SMG as well. That's not using a rifle. That's an SMG that he's just hit that shot from balcony window all the way down to the basement stairs.
I think it's the FMG that he's running now.
Ah, it is the FMG.
Yeah. So not the SMG. I know they sound similar, so you can be forgiven for making a mistake on it, but no, the SMG. I thought it in the previous round, I was like, he's not running around with that one, is he? It's not quite what you
smoke, I presume shotgun, you see.
This is the thing. This is the thing. This is why, when you say to Yonka, look, Yonka, right, get it. You want to be the new Citizen. You want to run around the map, you want to frag. Before you do that, though, you've got one responsibility. Do all my rotates for me. And that's it then. The Citizen's off around the map. This is why you keep seeing him off running around the map, like holding up against doorways and doing all kinds of mad stuff. He doesn't care. He don't really want to be playing on site at the very start of a round. And speaking of that, it's the same story again for Virtue. The basement dweller is what I'm going to start calling him at this point, because every single round we have seen him downstairs in Snowmobile, inside of Wine, just waiting for his time to strike.
Too late to catch the first detonation of the Selma there, but because of the time of the charges in between, the Electrical will pick up the second one, so it's not a clean run through just yet for Vitality. Shinka does run Hungry through with a few bullets, though, as he finds the headshot onto the man. 5 versus 4, and Hungry having a bit of a struggle so far today, Des. Firmly secured his seat on the struggle bus. 0 and 4 so far. Could do with getting himself into the game a little bit more now. In goes that Rotero drone. It's going to clear out a deployable shield that was on top of the piano, and we've seen how impactful those deployables can be in the previous game on Villa, where it really did help the defence of Aviator and Games. We'll see how Virtue manages to survive without. Once again, he's taking that opportunity to get prone. Last time it was the billiards table, this time it's the piano.
Always boils down to small things. I was really curious about the stats of the FMG, actually, because I realised I didn't know much about it. 34 damage per shot, 800 rounds per minute. Not exactly a slow gun. It is a little bit of a bite to it with 31 rounds in the mag. So, hey, I guess the Citizen, when all he wants is to be able to snap onto heads and just go nuts, then great gun for him to try and do so. Ironically, Caster cursing him as he dies at the moment that I start talking about him. They've got them time to push through now this main hallway. One runs in without a single drone on there. A second kill, Virtue going nuclear, but can't find the third. Kayak does give him a bit of an assist with the C4 coming out onto Shinka. We're down to a 2 versus 2 now. Cactus making this plan happen. He's sticking it, and here comes Kayak on the rotate, returning from his victorious C4, whilst his comrades have fell on the site itself. Yonka and Kayak now got to do everything to bring down 2 and stage a retake.
Unfortunately for G2, they just lost control of site there amongst all those kills from Virtue, and it's just left them short-handed as Cactus gets the final 2 after putting the diffuser down. Great round for the ace there as he manages, not the ace he was playing, the operator ace. I know he only got 4 kills, but a great round nonetheless for Cactus as he closes that one out for Vitality, and it's yet another close round with Virtue almost having one of those tide-turning moments.
Imagine if he'd just really gone nuclear there and turned it into a third on the office, swung back round and caught the next guy pushing through library. Would have been the round ender, hands down. But these rounds are so back and forth, and, you know, clutch potential, dare I talk about it here. That was a 4K from Cactus. The prior round was that incredible turnaround coming out from Citizen, and Kayak, of course, contributing along the way. Round number 3 was Shinka's 1 versus 1 against Citizen, and then even back in round number 1, it was a very overwhelming dominance coming out from Vitality in a 5 versus 2 before G2 even got any kind of response back. So the rounds have been very back and forth. It's hard to see which way each one is going to go. It's going to take the second half to really get a feel for this, but at least for now, Vitality at 3-2 on their attacking half.
Final defense coming in for G2. It's going to be in Kitchen. We saw this back in round number 1. Vitality, if you remember, Bibu able to just stroll his way into side. They didn't manage to find a kill, but Vitality certainly had complete control of the map from minute 1, effectively, as they were able to push and pull G2 all around the map that time. So G2 need to play this one more on their own terms this time. They can't allow Vitality to just walk in and take control over large swathes of the map like that. I
can't imagine they'll give them the absolute freedom like that this time round, but time will tell. The IQ on side for P4 once again. More, I think, for the shot calling that we spoke about earlier on in our Empire versus Virtus Pro game was the IQ being brought along to provide assistance from below, in this case probably from above, to help them remove things like the ADSs, like the Banshees if they can spot out where they are and remove them. Probably isn't all that much utility to worry about on the side of G2, but it's always nice to have it there for the added insurance in case that Echo comes out once again. We did see Kayak run it earlier on, but now at least he's defaulted back to playing on the Frost.
P4 established on top of Mezzanine then. He knows that there's men ahead of him. He knows that there is going to be a force trying to hold down this top floor. Let's start opening the walls here. Cactus, that's just going to give Vitality something to work with to start pushing this top floor hold from G2 back towards Solarium and back towards site there, we'll be hoping. P4, he starts to advance. He's got the support of Shinka as well. Cactus has now moved downstairs and he's opening up the wall below, so that is all the breaching work largely done for this site. Access to the plant spot is theirs, but so far we haven't had a clash of any operators as of yet.
Not yet. But then we also saw this happen in the first round as well, back when it was just Crouch walking into site and then walking back out with no one dying. I wonder if that is Virtue. I think it is playing once again inside a piano. He was undroned from that spot last time. It's where he went nuclear with his 2K. So this time around, at least, they've put a drone in there. They know that he's here. But look at the backup that he's got. He's got a whole party going on there. Frostmat on the window, the laser gate, the shield, the ADS. Everything to make sure he can hold that room for as long as possible, because that is the linchpin of their defense on the top floor if they want to be able to contest from above. There aren't that many playing above, mind you. There is one playing downstairs at the moment, so looking forward to seeing what their flank work might be, and there's one playing inside a kitchen.
An awful lot of utility for Vitality to play through here. Now then, Citizen, what are you doing? Ooh. He's holding himself down in basement for the time being, and we could see the rare use of that FMG coming to bear again, once again here, Des. Citizen, he's just waiting for his moment, and he's going to flank up those stairs, and I'm not sure that Vitality are aware of his presence. Rise is looking to get himself a nade in. Yonka moves very cleverly closer to the wall there to avoid it. If he gets aggressive here, it could well make a successful challenge. He's going to move himself around. They've no idea, Des. They've no idea that they're going to be flanked. Here it comes. That's Jonka. Nice and easy, but not before he manages to get Virtue. And Kayak also goes down to Cactus, but here comes Citizen. Headshot onto Bibu. Nitro for Hungry. 3 versus 2 now in the favour of G2, and Vitality have got it all to do with 12 seconds left to go. Citizen finds Shinka diffuser down on the ground. Surely it's too much for P4. He manages to get one. He's got no option but to try and stick this plant. Citizen goes in. He's just being cautious, letting the time tick by. There it is. Playing it smart, knowing that the man does not have the opportunity to then come off and challenge him. And whew, there was a lot of heat in the middle of that round, Des, but G2, they came out in control of the fire.
I cannot wait for my rank games to be filled with roaming smoke players playing the FMG. Honestly, can't wait. A lot of sarcasm wrapped in that in case you can't quite make it out. But this is the, what? Throughout the whole half then, Vitality must have been asking so many times over, where the bloody hell are Virtue and Citizen coming from? I imagine in French, not so much in English. But between the two of them, they've spent every single round, at least one of them, in the basement and then looking to make an impact later in the round on the flank or shutting someone down when they do eventually push into the basement. So whilst Vitality paid it no heed, every single round, G2 are making excellent use of it and really gave the side of Vitality a headache. Citizen 3K in the final round again. Another huge round for an individual player. There's so many multi-kills galore in that first half. Let's see now if the game slows down ever so slightly. Hungry, I believe, switched away from the Monty onto the Lion, but the response from Bibu was to say, right, we're going to do the old Monty special, the old G2 special, sorry, because I remember back when G2 played against Na'Vi last year, back when Pengu was still playing, when Kendrew was still on Na'Vi, the go-to response on Cafe in the game that ended 6-6 between Na'Vi and G2 was to bring the Clash. And what they did was, when defending Kitchen, put the Clash on the top floor, met Pengu's Monty inside a white corridor, and just kind of stalemated it out there because they knew that it would slow them down so much. So I'm wondering here if that's kind of Vitality's game plan is, on the expectation there will be a Monty, given G2 ran it in every attacking round on Clubhouse last week, bar one or two. I think they've switched it out for a Capital once or twice. They just want to make sure they have a response here in the form of Bibu.
Well, Clash is always going to win against the Monty if it's a 1v1 showdown, because, of course, Clash's electricity will still damage Monty even when his shield is extended. So they can't just stand there in that face-off. So, as you say, it forces the Monty out. It forces them to go and do something different. Or, alternatively, the attackers absolutely have to pile utility in towards that Clash to make sure that they deal with it, with usually 2 or 3 at that point, then pushing to try and support the Monty. But that won't be the case this time around. But nonetheless, G2 are still going to have to deal with the defensive shield of Bibu, which for the time being is just stood on that piano room window, just feeding information in, saying, yep, I can see the Lion, he's up on the roof. Meanwhile, Virtue moves in underneath and looks to maybe get a bit aggressive up those library stairs.
Indeed, nice slow start. As you kind of expect with the Clash on side, the idea being that you do want to play behind it and play quite defensive. That said, Hungry does strike first, drawing first blood onto P4. A man who we spoke about quite a lot and playing on the Jaeger, not at all surprised to see him being the one running around like a bit of a lunatic trying to find the entry kill, but nothing to be found. Rise almost being naded out by a second as well, and that long shot coming through. This is where we saw Hungry contested earlier on when he was playing on that pulse. I believe it was by Bivu looking to push in on the Zofia. Was never actually dealt with, mind you, so no doubt the awareness is there for G2 of the damage someone can do when left alone downstairs inside a kitchen and dining.
Rise is going to keep himself alive, as you say, for a little bit longer there, and it's something that G2 need to deal with. It looks like Citizen is heading in that exact direction to me now. Kayak, he's looking to get these reinforcements burnt off. That's going to be the access into sight when it comes to the potential to execute and get that diffuser down. We've got a minute left to go. Rise has moved himself back upstairs, so won't find himself getting challenged by Citizen. Kayak does drop the reinforcement away. There's still something that is missing, so he just decides to take the vertical line instead, which should see the whole thing break away.
What's he forgot?
He can't. There's something that's missing, Kayak.
Oh, the gas.
There you go.
No gas. What's he forgot? he's got no gas. He's out.
This is it. I think it's up at the top, Des. I think it's up at the top. There's a very small piece. I don't know if medics can't quite get the. There you go.
It's easy, but there you go.
Sorry, easy. It's up there at the top.
Oh dear.
A little bit of a mistake from Kayak there that could cost G2 dearly, as the Toxic Babe canister comes out, does a little bit of damage, and right now Vitality, they are stacked. 4 men waiting for this push. Jonker manages to get one from the window, headshot onto Cactus, but Rise meanwhile has hit Jonker in reverse with the Nitro in through the window. Hungry goes down to Shinka, and surely this is going to be Vitality. 4 seconds left to go, 2 versus 2, kills still raining in. G2 can do it, Des. Virtue Citizen find the final 2.
I imagine most teams at the point, you would give up. You would say, forget about it. We're not going to be able to push here. The wall stays closed. We've now got to push through the double doorway that leads in from the library hallway. We're screwed. G2, though, just turn things up to 11. Put the aggression on, pile everyone inside, and yes, you might lose 1 or 2, but they find the kills they so sorely need and walk away with the round. Feels like they've robbed Vitality a little bit there, Ace.
Certainly does, and whatever the cause of the struggle with the breach for Maverick there, they managed to work their way around it fantastically. I mean, you know, as we could see, it appeared that there was a little bit of reinforcement. The thing is, I think when you're burning them off sometimes, obviously there's sort of the interior and exterior sort of edge of the wall, and it certainly seemed like a little bit, it only takes a little bit, had been missed there and just kept it in place. But they managed to work around it nicely. I felt like that kill from Jonker was particularly important. It was a real catalyst to the rest of the round. When that one went down, it just sort of spurred G2 into it to think, you know what, there's no other option. That was like, for me, that was like the starting pistol. It was like, right, we've got 10 seconds, we've got to go in and get kills, so let's just get going. And they all just flooded into sight and managed to find them. So well played G2 to find the way around that one.
Let's see if they can have a, well, just look strike twice. Lightning doesn't. Don't know if luck will. I was going to look, to be fair, it was all a big kind of come together, but the timing they had left, everything kind of lined up for them in that way. We'll see if it can happen again in round 8, but again, don't really expect it to do so. Hopefully this time round, the wall does indeed get opened up and things look a little bit better for them. Bahrain Gaming, where we're going to head though for round number 8. That Lion still present once again for Hungary, and on the other side, they have dropped away from playing the unique setup, shall we say, with the Kai, the Oryx, and the Clash. Instead, seeing the Frost, the Aruni, the Mute, the Melusi, and the Jaeger coming out.
Back into the drawn-in phase, as we often see around the 30-second to a minute mark. Citizen just checking out that the way is clear before he's going to hop his way in through that single window on the Zephyr. He's just marking out some utility. The fact that there is a laser gate up there now, then I don't think he's spotted out P4 Des, and if he pushes forward to get himself in here, if no other drones have picked out the man on mezzanine, Citizen's going to bite the dust extremely quicker. Here he comes. This is going to be a freebie for P4. He needs to make his peak, but I think Citizen might be aware. Checking the angle there, tries to take the peak, and what a delicate challenge that was, but Citizen, he's aware now and keeps his life as the bullets rain past him. Virtue finds a nade kill onto Cactus elsewhere in the map as we just watch that little duel going on between P4 and Citizen.
So Citizen has got gonads of steel to still stay in the window frame when you know P4 is trying to peek you. Like, just step out, peek shot, back again, rinse, repeat until you die. Fair play. Most players would have backed away long ago. Does eventually drop away as he realises, okay, yeah, maybe sticking for this isn't quite the play. And now has moved his way out towards the west. So one on the rappel. Citizen holding out towards Mud here. You can see the game plan is to get a plant down inside of gaming. But for that first, they want to get this hallway control.
He needs to get inside of the map here, Citizen. A little bit of a struggle for him so far. We're at 1 minute 15, just very conscious of the potential for a frost map, but there wasn't one to be found on that window. We've got 1 minute left to go. Kayak looking to get a nade in. P4 has already dropped away. I don't think that the nade is going to follow him quite that far down, sorry, as it's actually deployed into the corner by Kayak. We can see all 3 frost mats have been played inside of sight there to prevent that jumping in the late round, trying to get the diffuser down, and just feels like we've met a little bit of a stalemate here, Des.
A little bit, for now at least, but they are slowly forcing them back because P4, when the nade came singing out, dropped through the hatch. It's why he was safe, but that meant that G2 then get library control, can start playing on the vertical if they want to. Citizen is waiting for a push in here from Mud, as you can see. The problem is he's got a man on either side watching him, but he still gets the long angle inside of inside of gaming. That's what you want to see. Shinka is just waiting though, and 2 frost mats are waiting for G2. I hope to God they get this right.
And they certainly have. Kayak takes his choice, and out goes the Nitro as well. Shot. Big play.
Citizen.
Kayak trying to get that diffuser down. 4 versus 2 as Citizen gets Shinka. Everything is being done to facilitate Kayak to get the plant, but it's not going to matter as Hungary and Kayak get the final kills. G2 are starting to run away with this one from what looked like a very good Vitality side at the beginning of the game.
Really good execute coming out of G2, and I know we keep on singing his praises all game long, but I'll give one over to Citizen again here because he got inside of Mud, didn't panic, just kind of stood there and opened up the tiniest little hole in the doorway, enough that he could see down through sight, and was like, if anyone crosses this hallway or tries to step inside of gaming, they're dead. I've got you covered. Go for the plant, no problem. And there was also the really good teamwork coming out of the other 2 members of G2 to push in and get the plant down. Plus, I believe it was Jonka coming out from the east. So all in all, like you said, it was a slow round. They just slowly forced players back onto the site, got them into really uncomfortable spots where G2 had these longer angles waiting, and they had the answer. Really, really good attacking round.
It was. G2 have really been ramping up the pressure over the last couple of rounds, but subtly. That's what I love about it. You know, it's been, as you say, just taking it inch by inch, just edging them back, forcing them back. And when the backs are to the wall and they've got to get 3 kills in the last 10 seconds, they've done it. Yep. But they are trying to avoid that at all costs. And that was a brilliant round there. One to watch back as to how to attack onto that site, I think.
Absolutely. And to be fair, this is something that we've criticised G2 for a bit this stage. Their defences have looked pretty good. Some really cool creative mirror holds into admin on Consulate, for example, one that I'll never forget. I believe that was in their game against Virtus Pro, where they held them back for a solid 2 minutes in admin. Really impressive. And their attacks have been what's been lacklustre this stage compared to stage 1, when their attacks started out looking really good. Made the roster changes and things kind of turned upside down from there. However, at least in this game, you're starting to see that come back to life, and it's always good to see. 5-3 to G2 then, as we have another attempt at the Bahrain Gaming site. Vitality clearly convinced that they knew what went wrong and feel they can correct it in this round.
I'm thinking back to what Hap said at the beginning of the day, and I'm pretty sure he said that the only scenario whereby somebody could qualify for the major today was G2 win with a full 3 points and Virtus Pro lose And that has happened. Or it looks like it's happening. It's possibly going to happen if G2 win this.
Happening, yes.
It's happening.
So Hap, if you can hear me, and I'm sure you can hear me somewhere as my voice reverberates around the studio, I would love it if you could message us and let us know if G2 win this one outright.
I'm certain
clean,
it's right.
They're in. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
It puts G2 on 17 points.
To be fair, I don't trust him because his KD calculation earlier, he was one off.
Wonky.
Honestly, unforgivable.
If G2 win this, they go on to 17 points with a full 3 points. Vitality remain on 10. There's only 6 points left available because there's only 2 players. So Vitality can't overtake them, and everybody below can't overtake them because Virtus Pro, of course, didn't get any points, so didn't go ahead of Vitality. I think they're on 9 points. So yeah, I think I'm right in saying that if G2 win this now, they will qualify for the Mexico Major.
You know what I'm quietly excited about? And I know this is looking ahead already, and it's almost like we're getting excited for the Euros all over again. But our performance, or our... what's I'm looking for here? Our teams that are rolling up to the Mexico Major, I'm quietly excited about all of them at this point.
I think we're going to have a better showing from each.
Yeah, like imagine if we're sending G2, we're sending Empire, we're sending BDS, and we're sending Na'Vi. Those 4 teams all look really good. It's a genuine delight to watch them. Sure, they're not without their faults and things that you could improve, but I'm quietly excited about seeing all 4 of them in current form.
I think it'll be far more competitive than EU at SI.
Yeah, we don't talk about that anymore.
No,
that's a painful, long-distant memory.
I think it'll be far more competitive.
The thing is,
but there is still LATAM to contend with.
No. What people don't understand is the reason why England tanked it in the Euros finals was you could forget about SI. That's it. That's the only reason why we set up the script so we would lose on penalties in the final. That's absolutely the way it was going.
Very good of them.
Heroes.
Very good.
Truly. Right then, let's see how this goes on round number 9 then, and how it plays out. We'll see if G2 can put together another masterclass of an attack, or if Vitality can find a bit of a snapback, because in the previous round they were slowly forced back by G2. Grenades forcing members to drop through hatches to get everyone back on site, herded them up like sheep, and then we'll put them all to the slaughter. That's the kind of thing you want to see. A C4 coming out of the library window connects onto Kayak. Diffuser is down. G2 may have to scramble a little bit here, recollect their thoughts and recollect their ideas.
What a start from Rise there. Beautiful little toss out of the window with the Nitro, and that puts the Diffuser cold on the ground. I think Hungry has gone to recollect that, so he hasn't got it in hand yet, but he was heading in that direction. I'm sure that he'll go and collect it. Now Citizen moving in swiftly, takes out the default cam there. Looking to move into the corridor, just trying to pressure once again directly onto site. We saw him do it from the bottom of the library stairs previously, which is now an area that Virtue's looking to move towards. He's going to take the window out and potentially look to pressure from there, but I think it's actually more of a distraction technique just to allow Citizen to move across the corridor there. Jonker gets one onto Rise, extremely late trade out there, but P4 with a much quicker trade as he manages to get the man Jonker down. 3 versus 3 though. Citizen does manage to stealthily move his way into the corridor and gets a freebie onto Cactus with the headshot. Rotates himself around and decides he's going to attack from a different angle here, but very aware of man on the top floor. Virtue gets P4, and that is library cleared out for Citizen. 3 versus 2, 6 seconds left to go. It's all going to come down to a bloodbath in sight, and here it begins. Bibu with an important kill, putting the Diffuser down. Bibu and Shinka lock it out in a 2v3, Des. It's 4-5 now, and this game is anybody's.
It's still going on. Like I said, it's just up and down across these rounds. We keep on highlighting individual players for their contributions and the outcomes that it's given them, but that one and the previous round, big team efforts there to win the 2 versus 3 and get it over the finish line. As you say, 5 and 4, 1 more for Vitality. All things are equal. And it feels then like we'll be careering towards overtime. And I believe this was down as our game of the day. Am I right in saying that?
It was down as the game of the day, and boy, has it been the game of the day.
And it's still delivering so far. We're still waiting to see if that overtime rolls around. Kitchen and dining going to be where we step into for our next site. And Cactus is back on Big Boy Maestro, one of my favourite Maestro players to watch in the whole of EUL.
Most important round of the game, I think, coming up here. G2 have the opportunity to get themselves onto match point. Vitality have the opportunity to level things up and potentially then gain that momentum that might just push them ahead. That last round for them was their first win in 4 rounds, Des. It was a great way for Vitality to put the brakes on, especially in a 2v3. G2 would have felt for all their money, all their worth, that they would have been able to get that one over the line, but Bibu, Shinka locked it down. They were having none of it. Bibu particularly winning a difficult gunfight to keep them alive. Now then, We're going to be going to kitchen and dining this time around, so expect to see top floor pressure from G2 once again. We've got P2, sorry, P4.
P2.
P2, it was bound to happen. We've got P4.
Just when P4's feeling like half the man he normally is. Yeah, P2, why not?
Well done. We've got P4 on the Mozzie, getting himself mobile around the map. And that's something G2 are going to have to take some care of. We've already seen him trying to pressure those entry points against Citizen, and on the Mozzie, that's something he could potentially do very well.
I told you Virtue was a basement dweller. Already getting himself inside a snowmobile, I was going to for a second, just making sure there's no one lurking down there. Goes, that's my basement. No one else is allowed to be holding down there, at least for now. And clearly quite happy in the mindset of no one is down there, so haven't got to worry about it, at least for now. You've got Shinka being the one who's lurking around upstairs, roughly above the site. And the same can be said for Rise, and Bibu's playing up to the north. So some vertical work to be done. Hungry with a great shot through the window there onto an unsuspecting Bibu inside a piano.
Not the ideal start for Vitality, but that's not bad. P4 putting the explosives to use. There's been a few of those kills raining through this game. This time it's Jonker that bites the dust, and that is one of the hard breach gone. There's only Maverick left if G2 want to be working with hard breaches here, which they potentially will, Des, on the wall that's just outside the main door, or just inside the main door, rather. Now then, Maestro up there on that table, the drone doing a dance of death, but manages to escape.
It's the noise it makes as it goes on that little ledge that gave it away there, because now I think Cactus knows that he's being watched and is very mindful of just being banged through a wall from somewhere random.
Yeah, I think he's got an angle onto the lobby stairs there, but I think he's particularly waiting to play the impact trick game, but it's not going to be necessary with Jonker off the board, because of course Kayak is the only one left able to hard breach now, so he's going to have to go in and get close with that torch. Citizen, he knows what the man is doing, and he's going to see if he can find an angle here, Des. He does have it, but the Maestro, he's dipped away. Cactus is long gone here. He's not going to challenge that.
I wonder if he's going to stay squatting on those green boxes like a hen would on eggs, but for a while thought, nope, time for me to get away, don't want to get caught out anymore. And now he's looking to challenge onto that office window, the one that we speak about quite a lot that we'll see Nate playing when Na'Vi attack on this map, for example. So being mindful of the vertical, doesn't want to give this control, and sure enough, Hungry's the one looking to get inside here. Needs to be careful. If his man's still on the downstairs holding the angle, he could be in a lot of hurt as soon as he goes for the rappel.
He's thinking about it. He calls in the EE1D. That will not really gain G2 all that much at this point in time. 35 seconds left to go, and a little bit of a lack of progress here, Des. We've still got Kayak opening up that reinforcement, which will be successful this time. Virtue there comes in and removes the soft wall. Kayak has diffuser in hand and ready to plant, but it's 4 versus 4, and there's still a lot of work to do. Citizen finds an important kill onto P4, I think from above.
No, main stairs here.
And then it's now coming down to this. 15 seconds left to go. G2 leaving it late once again, which we've seen fall foul a couple of times as Cactus and Rise get kills. Cactus with another. 3 versus 1 now. Hungry shut down, and Vitality level things up, fighting their way back from 3 to 5. It's now 5 apiece.
And Cactus to 2K in the round on the Maestro. I keep saying I enjoy watching this guy ever since I saw them play against Rogue in what can only be described as a clown fiesta back in stage 1. The man was an absolute machine playing inside a meeting on console on the Maestro, doing absolute work to bring some sanity to a game that otherwise didn't really have much of it, to be completely honest with you. Big round again for Vitality, though. Didn't feel panicked. It started to feel like another G2 attack, like a few rounds back in their bar and gaming attack, because they were forcing them back with grenades. Slowly, Vitality were retreating, but then ultimately you saw the big blitz of blue in the kill feed as Vitality picked up those frags. 5 and 5, Ace. We wanted a competitive game. We're getting one.
Aren't we just? This is turning into an absolute classic here as G2 take a tactical timeout. I think Vitality have got them rattled.
Oh, I think... No. I know how this works. I've seen the strat, but they told me a little bit about this last night. This is when they unleash Citizen Go Kill.
Okay.
I've been told it's a really highly intricate strategy they're now working on, but trust me, I've been told that it's got a 100% success rate.
I feel like Vitality have already worked well to neutralise that so far.
Oh, what was the counter called?
Sorry?
What was their counter called? The counter strat?
Citizen No Kill.
Citizen No Kill. I mean, in the previous round, it kind of worked. You got the one, but then got blasted out by Shinka not too long after. So there is clearly a response. Citizen isn't Superman. He can't just quite blitz his way through an entire map. Let's see how it faces up, though. Round 11. Oh, round 11. I love just looking at the top of the screen and seeing 5-5, because you know that there's 2 rounds to play and someone's either going to have a belter of a 2 rounds and steal it away at 7 and 5 and break hearts, or they'll get 1 each and it goes to overtime. Either way, I'm happy with the 7-5. I'm happy with the 6-6. Just make it a good
one. Oh, we all win. We all win here, Des. Apart from one team. Apart from one team, everybody else wins here. We're going to have a grandstand finish one way or another.
This strat again. It's the Oryx, the Kaid, and the Clash, the one that they ran back in round 7. They ran this one. I'm keen to see how it goes out, given last time round it was G2 that won it.
Was a G2 win last time,
yes.
Right?
So we need to see something a bit different from
I want to
Vitality.
see Shinka being mobile. We always say this about the Oryx, using that ability, open the rotates, use the hatches, just really make a nuisance of yourself. Make it very difficult to be pinned down. Get yourself a kill here and there. Just needs to be a very sort of strike and move tactic, I think, for the Oryx. Get yourself a kill, get yourself some damage, move away, rotate, attack from another angle, rinse and repeat. Hungry being very cautious of the potential for any spawn peaks. G2 not wanting to get caught out in the early round and lose to a man advantage.
This is a really wild thought I've just had, and I don't... It's a bit far-fetched that it might be the reason, but do you think why they keep running the Clash with Shinka on the Oryx is for the charge down on the Monty?
Very possibly. It's another. It's not. I won't say a little-known counter, but it's a counter that a lot of people don't, I think, always think about. Monty, bring an Oryx, charge into him. It's a shield break. It knocks him down. You can get the kill. And yeah, it is something that maybe people don't always consider too much when they think about. Because obviously, you know, the primary focus of Oryx is those smashing through walls, jumping up hatches, but it is another tool in his arsenal, and as you say, it could be the fear of Hungry bringing the Monty along, but he hasn't. He's got the Lion, he's got the E1D scans. We've not seen too much use of them so far, Des. To say we've had a lot of Lion play, I don't feel like we've seen too many of the scans.
We've seen a couple come out in the kind of dying, not so much moments, but in the final 30 seconds or so, and you see the members of Vitality kind of pause. Remember, for example, the Citizen P4 1v1 around Mezzanine and outside onto the snowmobile stairs window. It was used at that time, but was ultimately ineffective because P4 was like, well, I'll just wait 2 seconds and then go for my peak again. So it was a little strange. Grenade coming singing in here, potentially to try and get rid of the Electro Claw. Success. Don't know if another one will come out at this time, and there comes one of our first scans. Ace, just in case you're curious on keeping count of those ones. Impact-wise, you'll be asking some questions.
As I said, you know, it could just be that I've not picked up on them because the action's been kicking off. But as you say, one E1D there just to support the push going forward. That is now active again. Hungry will be able to use another scan at his leisure. Jonker holding a long angle on the ace there after getting the hard breach work done. Citizen looking to push underneath. I don't think he's going to come up against anybody. The silhouettes don't suggest that there's anybody on that mid floor at the moment, but he may choose to push his way underneath and work up Solarium stairs possibly. Just make it tricky, try and get the flank off. Meanwhile, Hungry is looking to push up onto that bathroom window. 45 seconds left to go, and it's tentative at the minute.
Yeah, just waiting for that kind of, not so much the signal, but the sign that it's time to go. For someone to get into a key spot, find an opening kill, and really get things rolling for them. But they're just being held at bay. You've got the Clash still watching inside of Office. 2 or 3 hanging around Bathroom and Piano. Kayak's now down as well. Vitality, they might be about to do it here. They're in a 5 versus 2. P4 finds itself the double. Admittedly, 1 onto a down, but not our player. And now with 2 left alive, surely this is where Vitality can close it out.
Certainly looks that way. 13 seconds left to go. Hungry jumps in, manages to get himself a nice headshot. Shut down by the Oryx of Shinka though. 1 versus 4. Jonker's outside the map. It's unlikely he'll even get inside at this rate. Time ticks away. He's not going to risk it. There's absolutely no point. Nothing he could do there. Take the extra few seconds for G2. They can just try and talk through what went wrong there and maybe what they need to change. But I tell you what, Des, they don't have long to change it.
And I mean, that's all 3 sites now that G2 have lost on. It's not that they're just about to rotate back to a good site for them, one that they've won previously, and Vitality haven't. Vitality have won the last 3 rounds. They've taken them all. They're at 6 and 5 and could potentially put a big dent in G2's hopes of making it into that major. Let's see if it carries on. And you, what?
They could put a big dent in your predictions, Des.
Oh, I see why you're getting so excited about it now. I did wonder why it meant so much to you. Yeah, none at all, mate. Absolutely none.
No bias here, but... There was... Did Empic Vitality as well?
Yeah, she went against the grain today. Any time there was more people voting for a particular team, she was like, right, put me on the other one.
Okay.
So
Me and Em could be very successful on the back of this on today's predictions, but that is not the important matter here. The important matter here is Vitality versus G2. Vitality 1 round away from taking. The thing is, Des, we've got to focus on the importance of this as well. G2, as we've said, with a win here, that they can't do anymore, by the way. I will just clarify that as well. With a 3-point win here, could have qualified automatically for the Mexico Major. That would have secured them a top 4 spot. No longer possible. The best they can do is get themselves themselves into overtime and get a 2-point win, which I'm not going to go into whether that would guarantee them or not, because it had come down to all sorts of head-to-heads and other things, because teams could level them on 16 points if they were to fail to secure any more points. G2 still looking pretty good overall for the major, but Vitality on 10 points really need this win if they want to keep chasing down one of those spots in Mexico, because this would put them, if they get this round and win in regulation, it puts them onto 13 points, and that is massive. It drags them right into the race, Des.
I really want to talk about the site we're on as well. Bar and Gaming, 1 win apiece so far for either side in the second half of the map. The first one was that excellently orchestrated attack coming out of G2. It slowly forced Vitality back. They had the cross angle, Citizen inside of mud, getting the 2K when it came round to the execute, shooting a C4 out the air, beautiful out of G2. The next time around we play it, the exact round after, that's when we saw Vitality getting up against things like Library Stairs Window and C4 in Kayak. That just disrupted the whole flow of the round for G2. So for Vitality, what I really want to see is them doing that again. Get up in G2's face, make them sweat, bring down someone early on, but it's P4 who dies to start things out. This should have been the other way around. That's a brilliant start for G2.
Big loss for Vitality there, as one of the top fraggers in P4 gets taken off the board. Hungry, he manages to find Rise, and just like round 11, went straight towards Vitality. This one is pinging all the way back and heading for G2 right now. 5 versus 3, and there is going to be a long time and a lot of pressure for Vitality to hold on here. Bibu nearly loses his boots there from the rooftop.
Walking away with his feet, he's out, and a nade comes singing back. G2 have just bullied Vitality in this round, despite the positivity of the C4 coming out of that window prior to kill Kayak. This time round, G2 have doubled down, stuck 2 players on the window, and so far have secured 2 kills from that position, and that was off the back of Citizen finding one earlier on too. Really good start for G2 here. They've got about 70 seconds to play within a 5 versus 2. Surely, Ace, they can't give this one away.
Surely not, Des. Surely not. We've got Hungry on the Library Stairs there, looking to push down with support. Cactus is watching this hatch, ready for any drop. It looks like Citizen might give it a whirl. He's going to open up some angles, knowing that there's likely one in connector. E1D scan comes in, perfectly timed as Hungry gets the kill onto Shinka. No! Cactus, he looks away at the wrong moment as Citizen able to use that reverse angle and get the final kill on a flawless round for G2.
Can you do that ending again with the whole no Cactus, but do Cactus no, so we get a second one for the season?
Cactus no!
Thank you very much. We've had Bibu no, and now we've got Cactus. I want to keep building them up. It's almost like playing bingo towards the end of the season. Every member of Vitality needs you to have said that by the end of it. You've got 2 games to go,
I don't think Vitality will want that, because it usually comes before them losing a round, unfortunately for them. Well, I'm sure they'd be much happier with me shouting some other names.
Well, you've jinxed them enough here as well. You were getting so happy about your prediction as well before that round, and then you cursed it.
Long way to go, yeah. There's a long way to go.
All right. Okay, fine. A long way to go, to be precise, is potentially 2 or 3 rounds. Our team can take 2 rounds here and win it out entirely, or we could see it balance out and have 1 apiece, and then the round 15 will be the one where it comes down to it. G2 were in a 15-round game on Monday against Unknights. They have played a lot of Siege so far this week, and it's definitely not going to slow down now. I was going to say, it doesn't really matter what side we step onto either, whether Vitality are attack or defense. It has been 3-3 in both halves. You cannot separate these 2 teams. They are so closely aligned to one another in terms of what they're delivering in this game. And who knows, maybe Citizen breaks that 20-kill barrier as well, given how he's been playing. I'm sure expecting it.
Very, very possible. Now, interestingly here, Des, we can't even offer any sort of insight as to whether there's an attacker, a defender. There's no advantage to be found here. First half 3-3, second half 3-3. Nobody has had any better performance on attack or defence. Vitality are taking us to kitchen and dining. It's a site that we only saw them defend once. It was back in round 10, and they were the winners. They were the winners, even though Hungry got the opener onto Bibu, so they managed to win it from a man disadvantaged position as well. So Vitality, no doubt, feeling very confident on this site, but this round is super important. You feel like whoever lands the first jab here could be the one to line up the haymaker to close out the game.
That's the thing that worries me a bit is, we've seen a few rounds where G2 have found the opening kill, and this site was the prime example. it kind of presses on. G2 keep on forcing Vitality back, like, yeah, we're slowly getting it. And then suddenly, bam, Vitality come out of nowhere with 3 kills and shut the round down from seemingly nowhere. So keep a close eye on it. It's never over until all 5 members are dead, it feels, with these two teams, because the turnarounds we've seen in a couple of them, the multi-kills in the first half especially, were really impactful in how a round turned out. At least here, 60 seconds in, it's again about that time where we start seeing players getting back on drones and collecting information. Just Kayak at this point, along with Virtue, helping to get the rest of the players in, I think, here as well. We spoke about the supports being the ones who at the start of the round will drone the rest of the team in. They then get towards the building, then the supports start moving forwards, and your entries, if no one else is there to kill, are the ones who then get the drone work on the go.
Oh, I feel like you can even feel the tension in the movement of the players, Des. We saw P4 on the Mozzie just dashing around, sprinting, checking left, right, pre-fire in the door. We've got Hungry on the rooftop taking his shots in through the barricades. It just feels like everybody's on edge here. Everybody is tense and ready to fight because they know that they're going to have to. 1 minute 30 left to go. We've not lost a man yet, so both teams being careful to keep that man count up, but given any opportunity, they're going to be snapping straight onto those shots.
Kayak's been sat on this drone for the longest time, bless him, here, really playing in this supportive role for the team. Yonka the one doing a lot of the moving because they want to get control of the top floor here. They've got the wall opened up. They know there's a laser gate on the doorway coming in from the balcony, but then it's about making something happen. Cactus on that Maestro, spoke about him a lot already. Opening kill onto Yonka is going to slow G2's efforts down. Everyone's now pushed up towards Solarium, and for G2 the question is, do you want to chase them, pursue them up there, or start thinking about the site? There is only 50 seconds to play, so whatever it is, it's got to be fast.
They're going to make a decision and they're going to need to make a move. That much is true. Citizen looking to get angles through into sight. He's got Kayak with him. Big kill from Cactus on the Elder. Headshot onto Citizen. 5 versus 3 Vitality with a great advantage now here in the first overtime round. Virtue low health pushing alongside Hungry, going down the Solarium stairs. Virtue manages to see a man through the vertical angle, can't make it pay. Kayak does find Cactus. His work is done for the round, but he also, Virtue finding Shinka. 3 versus 2. Rise gets involved. 3 versus 1 with a second from Rise. It's big, but is it big enough? 10 seconds left to go. It's all on Virtue. I've said how he's had these pivotal moments. He finds shots onto P4, but he can't put the man down. He's running out of time, Des. 0 seconds, and Vitality take the first overtime round. One more round, Vitality, and this one is yours.
Oh, I mean, it's getting close. That was another repeat of what we'd seen on that site prior as well for G2, where, again, starts out well. You start forcing the members of Vitality back slowly, but 2 big kills in the early round coming out of Cactus. I will not shut up about this guy's Maestro play. From when I first saw him playing it, last year at this point, it feels like, even back into CL, absolutely phenomenal. Let's keep on seeing more of that from them and hopefully close this out here 8-6, or G2 could potentially, in the same week, have nicked 2 points from round 15, where it felt like potentially everything could have gone against them and the other team could have walked away the winner. They need 2 rounds on the bounce, barring gaming going to be where they set themselves up. It's been a while since we've seen Citizen back on that smoke, or at least back into the first half of the map. That FMG, I imagine, will start reigning supreme once again.
I'm sure that Vitality are going to be very aware of his position inside of the map. That is almost certainly going to be...
changed back.
He's got it back. He switched it out, but it's almost certainly going to be a priority for Vitality to find him, see exactly where that smoke is playing and try to shut him down. And now that he's on the SMG, Des, maybe they have a little more chance of doing so.
I'm really curious to see if his playstyle changes here and he doesn't become the roaming smoke. He actually sits and plays behind a shield with the SMG, holds sight with the shotgun, for example. Lots to think about in that consideration. We'll see once the round really well and truly gets underway. G2 have liked playing off on their own, so I expect to see Virtue disappear somewhere in a moment as well. Play inside basement again, the basement dweller as I called him earlier on. Expect to see him hanging around downstairs inside a snowmobile, or potentially just far up towards the north and looking to greet Vitality on their entry into the building.
Citizen just using those default cams, gets taken out, but he maybe gathers a little bit of information just about where the attackers have spawned in from, which will give at least an idea of where the push might come from. Cactus just going to hold an angle on that main door. It's something that we've seen him do a couple of times so far, just looking to cut off the rotation into dining and kitchen and just prevent defenders being able to move around. Now then, P4 goes in for an early challenge, but Jonker, he's not had too many kills to chip in so far, but he comes up with a big one there, taking the head off of P4. IQ lost as well.
I don't know what I didn't think about this. The FMG's your primary, the SMG's your secondary, so of course he's going to have both on side. So he has still got that FMG on side. We're running around the map using that, no doubt, at some point. For the side of Vitality, it's going to be the Solarium setup as well. So common to see when attacking onto this site is start on the north and work your way down, get control of library, covering yourself with flank drones or whatever else you need to as you go, and then worry about trying to play into the site. We've seen G2 do it on their attack a couple of times, but now they've found P4. It should take the wind out of their sails a little bit, slow Vitality down, and G2 no doubt already feeling good about their chances in this round.
It certainly will be a big factor, but if Vitality can come up with the next kill, that could be a pivotal moment, because it might just give them the energy and the belief, the confidence that they need to spur them forward to get this wrapped up inside of 2 rounds rather than having to go all the way to 15. Citizen holding on to Mezzanine, something we've seen him do extremely well so far, but the pressure's mounting. There's all 4 of Vitality looking to push towards him at the minute. They need to clear out that laser gate for the time being. They've got Virtue underneath. He's on the Jaeger, so doesn't have any explosives in hand, and look at them doubling up on Library Stairs as well. Vitality are going to run into some serious contention in a minute.
Citizens dropped down his smokes here and then fled back into the site. Has one still in pocket. I think he was quite nervous about Cactus, who was playing out on the balcony here. Should be taken out, but no one is playing present. And look at that, Virtue and Kayak both on the downstairs. Kayak with the C4 in the back pocket. Hungry's got one as well. They've got tools to play behind here, Ace, and time is starting to tick away for Vitality.
Citizen's going to swing in a minute. Kayak, he gets a kill onto Bibu. There you go. That's the moment Citizen was waiting for. Kill onto Rise. 5 versus 2. Oh, what a headshot onto Shinka.
Beautiful. 1 versus 5. Cactus should be shut out. Does find the one, but Kayak closes it. The near flawless round coming through for the second time this week. The second play day for G2. They're going all the way to 15 rounds. Entertainment, entertainment, entertainment.
Entertain me.
Let's not break out into karaoke just yet.
All the way to 15. This is all that we could have asked for from this matchup between Vitality and G2. It shows just how close these teams are in the battle for those major spaces, for the battle for those top 4, for the battle even for the top of the table. Vitality showing their capability to keep fighting, to keep challenging, and G2, they won't let go of this one. They want it locked down. They know that it doesn't secure them the Mexican major anymore. There's going to need to be other factors come into play potentially. But when you look at G2 only needing 1 point out of their final 2 games, you'd have to say they're likely to get it. So again, the 2 points here will still be big for them. They've just got to find a way to get it over the line. The attacking, once again, Des, hasn't really been the strong point for G2 today.
It's that comp again. It's back. It's returned. It's making an appearance as G2 make one critical change to their lineup. Hungry has dropped away from the line, which we saw him on the entirety of the second half. That Capitao has made an appearance. I mentioned back in the first half, you'll see this guy playing 5, 6 different operators throughout the game. This is the one that G2 have been employing quite a bit lately. The Capitao, not most rounds, but in some of their rounds on most of their maps, you will see this come along at some point or another. Clearly feeling that, like you commented earlier on, the line E1D scans, maybe not getting as much effectiveness out of them as they would have hoped. So now hoping that Capitao with the firebolt and the smoke can do a lot more damage.
We've seen how well G2 can use Capitao, and they're going to be hoping that this is their moment. We've already got one up on the Solarium windows. It will be Kayak with Diffuser in hand. They are, of course, attacking onto Master and Office, so going to look to just hold those long angles, especially if they can get a little bit of a breach opened on that wall. I don't know whether Jonker is maybe going to go and support that from Solarium windows, just try and get a bit of a longer angle into sight, but at the moment he's out on the rooftop looking in through the bathroom window.
I mean, the clash being up towards the north is an interesting one, because normally it's played on the office wall. And if you remember back to when we last played on this site, in fact, in both rounds, G2 were kind of stalling out towards the south side. So I'm wondering here if it's a change in tack and said, look, we keep on stalling out on the office wall and can't get control of Piano. Let's just go Solarium. Completely change things up here and try and do something a little bit different. Vertical angle from Citizen being opened up here from inside of the larger garage. We'll be able to see up these solar stairs. So there shouldn't be any big cheeky flanks coming out from the side of Vitality. Not that they really have to worry about that, as outside of the Oryx and I think Rise, they're at the minute all playing up on the top floor.
Time is ticking away. We're coming down towards the final 1 minute 30, and we're going to have an answer, Des. We're going to have an answer as to who wins this Vitality or G2. I'm on the edge of my seat right now.
You're not sat down,
to
Ace.
find out. I know, that's how far on the edge I was, Des. I fell off. I had to stand
Oh,
Mimu
they got him!
gets taken down. That is a big play from G2. Jonker finishing the kill, but it was a true team effort to get the shield taken out. 5 versus 4 G2, 1 minute 15.
And P4's pulled right back here because they've got Hungry playing up on the office window. No one can really play inside of that part of the site itself, but it's the Capitale. They can smoke off site. They can chuck a couple of firebolts if they want to into the connector wall, and that could be enough to get G2 in to start opening things up. I think they're just a little bit nervous here about P4 and Cactus, who are playing relatively aggressively in towards the piano and looking in towards the side doorway. P4 is doing a dance to death here because if Hungry catches him on the rotate back, he's in trouble. But something tells me they don't know that P4 is sat inside of the cubby at the moment.
Shinka's underneath at the minute on the Oryx, but he's not likely to have an opportunity to get himself up through the hatch.
Don't know.
So I don't know how much impact he's going to be able to have. Kayak finds P4, shuts him down, can start putting that diffuser down on the ground. Shinka's got to make a move, but surely it's going to be too late, Des. Virtue Citizen get the final kills. The diffuser was going down. It's all G2, and they are looking good for that Mexican major position.
Aren't they just? You know what's not looking so good? Your predictions after all that mouth in round 11. Unbelievable, but that was a fantastic round for G2. Acknowledging that the push coming in through Library and working your way through the south wall was never